Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Harmonious World. My name is Hilary Seabrook. If this is your first time listening to Harmonious World, you should know that this podcast is inspired by a Quincy Jones quote. Imagine what a harmonious world it would be if everyone shared a little of what they're good at. On Harmonious World, I chat with musicians and those with an interest in music to get them to share what they are good at. My past guests include seasoned professionals and Grammy nominees and winners, some of whom are waiting as I speak for the presentations just in a few days. I also talk to those starting out in the business. And alongside Harmonious World, my blog contains albums and live performance reviews, and all the links are in the show notes. For this episode, I'm joined by Adam Ben Ezra. He's a double bass player, and his new album, Heavy Drops, is out at the end of February. What you're listening to now is the title track, Heavy Drops, and you can hear Adam's wonderful bass. So I hope you enjoy listening to my conversation with Adam Ben Ezra. It's really nice to meet you, Adam.
Yeah, pleasure meeting you as well, Hilary.
Thank you for joining me for Harmonious World. And I'd like to talk to you about Heavy Drops, but I'd also like to talk to you about your background and how you've ended up where you are now. And especially how you've ended up, your double bass has got a beautiful sound.
I totally agree with you. That's why I chose this instrument.
Sure. So tell me about Heavy Drops first. When was it recorded? When did you write the tracks?
Yeah, so actually the process of the composition was very, very interesting. It started as 1 minute clips for Instagram, Facebook. I just made all kinds of these little piece videos with like a verse and a chorus, played it, released it to the world and moved on. And after I gathered all kinds of videos, I chose the best 10 and made a song out of them. And then when I had the full composition on the bass, I thought about the project, and I knew that I want to have a drummer for it, unlike my previous albums. So I searched for one, and I went to the internet again, and I just wrote a post. I'm looking for a drummer. Who would like to join me for the next project?
Wow.
And I got, 30, 40 requests, and the best of them was Michael Oliveira, who I met few years before. I've never played with him, just met him on a dinner in a festival in Riga, and it was an automatic connection, and we met in Madrid where he lives, and after a few days of rehearsals we went to the studio and recorded the basic layers of the album, and then I took the materials and I added all kinds of other additional layers of bass and etc. And it's going to be released 28th of February.
Yeah, it's very exciting. But it's a very different sound because obviously the electronics and that sort of stuff, it feels like it's come from you. It feels like you created the whole thing. Obviously the drums is Michael Oliveira's hand, but the rest of it all does feel like it's all from you, which is really nice.
Yes, that's something that I've been doing for a long time, adding all kinds of effects to the double bass, make it sound like a guitar or like a synth, like a percussion. So that's what I did in this album as well. with also some synth sounds and some vocal synth sound, some flute that I play as well. Most of it is based on the bass and the drums.
Yes, and that comes across really clearly that those are at the heart of it. At this point in the podcast, I'd like to play a bit of Portrait of Natalie because I love that track. So that was one of the 10 that you started on Instagram as just a little clip. So how did it develop?
Yeah, so usually when I compose, I don't attach a name or a title. I just wanted to have a solo acoustic piece on the bass. It just came out of it, you know. And I finally composed it, I realized that it really fits my wife Natalie character, so I dedicated this one for her, and that's what it is.
Yeah, but it's a very beautiful track.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's full of love and emotion, so that's
Yeah.
why the title fits it.
Yeah, definitely. Right. So talk to me about your background. How did you start out on the bass?
I started actually on the violin when I was 5, and when I was 9, I wanted to be a bit more cool, so I switched to the guitar, and then we had a piano in my house, so I played a bit of piano, and then I moved to the electric bass, and in the age of 16, I started to listen to jazz, and that's why I was drifted to play the double bass. And for, I don't know, the first 5 years, I just play standard jazz, you know, with trios, quartets, um, digging
Yeah.
in the bebop and the hard bop and all of the history of jazz. And and then in the age of 20, 21, I started to explore more on the bass, started to drum on it, and to add all kinds of effects, and basically all my knowledge from the other instruments, I used it to play the double bass in different technical ways.
Right. Yes, because I love it when you use the bass as a percussion instrument because you get the resonance, don't you?
Exactly, it has so much body that you
Yeah.
can use.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just took all kinds of drum books and translated the drumming parts into my bass.
Right. What are the plans for the future? Are you going to have a big launch of the album? How are you launching it?
We're launching on the web, the social media as much as we can. And we're touring, me and Michael, all over Europe, the other parts of the world in the future. And yeah, that's what we're going to do.
Fantastic. Well, I will point my listeners to to your website so that they can find out about where to hear you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
That's brilliant. Well, thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it, Adam.
Thank you, Hillary. Thanks. My pleasure.
Thank you for joining me for that conversation with Adam Ben Ezra. What you're listening to now is Lazy Butterfly, which is also from Heavy Drops, the album that is out at the end of February. Please remember that you can find reviews of albums and live gigs on the blog at hillaryseabrook.blogger.com. Please do rate and review this podcast wherever you are listening. It all helps other people find me. And until the next episode of Harmonious World, I hope you have a really good week. Thank you for listening to the latest episode of Harmonious World. My name is Hillary Seabrook, and it's a great delight to bring this series of discussions with musicians and composers and writers and all sorts of people to you. Obviously, there's no point in having a podcast if people aren't listening, and I'm very grateful to my listeners for doing so. Thanks also to Joe English for composing and performing this new theme tune. So wherever you get your podcast, you can leave a review. You can share this with your friends and family, either as a link or on social media and that sort of thing. I'd be really grateful for that. Don't forget that you can subscribe now. There's a link wherever you get your podcasts. So have a great week, and please remember why I started this, which is just to try and make the world a little more harmonious. Thanks for listening to Harmonious World.